Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Decentralized Chain. It's Feroz, and in today's episode, we are going to be talking about NFT.com. But before I do, if this is the first time you're here and you want to learn more about crypto, whether it's news, insights, or analysis to help you get that edge, start now by hitting the subscribe button below and the bell notification icon so you don't miss any of my upcoming episodes. Better still, come and join us over in the Telegram channel. Plenty of crypto enthusiasts, so no question is too big and definitely no question is too small to help you on that journey of crypto education. Now, as I mentioned before, we today are going to be talking to Alec Otto, who heads up marketing over at NFT.com. Now, NFT.com, yes, as it sounds, it is related to NFTs. It is an NFT marketplace. And you might be thinking, hold on, there's plenty of marketplaces out there. But there is a difference because those marketplaces, you are a user within that marketplace. You don't really own anything within that marketplace, right? And that's the key thing here. With NFT.com, you are the owner. You are the user within that marketplace. That space is yours and no one can take it away from you. So I think that this concept that we have here is something significantly different from what's already available in the marketplace today. It really takes decentralization to the next level. It is embracing what Web3 is all about. It is allowing you to have ownership. But instead of me talking about that, we're going to jump into the interview now, speak to Alec Otto, find out a bit more about how this concept of NFT.com came about. And let's just think about it. The guys own the domain NFT.com. That in itself to me is huge, purely because when you look at it from the everyday consumer, the everyday people who do not know much about crypto, but certainly everybody's hearing about NFTs, well, you only need to type in NFT.com to find out a bit more. And I think that is very powerful in itself. Right, let's jump into the interview, speak to Alec, and find out exactly what we need to. Alec, look, thank you so much for coming on the show. I am super hyped to really find out a bit more about NFT.com. It really does sound like it's something quite revolutionary. And in terms of what we already have in the landscape today, I feel that it certainly will be blowing the socks off some of the competition out there. But Alec, look, I mean, before we get into it, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, man? I mean, where'd you grow up?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. So I'm from a small town in Greater Los Angeles called Seal Beach. I technically went into school, and after high school, got into music, and I was a musician in Los Angeles for a while. Did a lot of production and songwriting, and kind of fell into cryptocurrency by accident. Part of the starving artist life tends to drive you towards wherever you can make a buck. But I fell in with some really amazing people, and ended up working on the founding team of Hedera Hashgraph, which was the next generation distributed ledger tech. Yeah. Had an amazing experience there, getting to build that from kind of the ground up, and then left that company in 2019 to then work in e-commerce for a bit. In that time, I was working in the music space a little bit again, and kind of really disappointed with where things were going for creators, and when NFTs started to really pick up, I started cluing back into crypto again pretty intensely. I had kind of sworn off crypto a little bit after building a bit of a corporate style project. But when my friend Jordan, who also worked on Hedera, called me and was like, "Hey, I've got NFT.com. Do you want to build something here?" I couldn't say no. It was way too cool of an experience, of an opportunity to build. So here we are now, trying to build a true community centric and community driven NFT platform.
So what is NFT.com? If you had to tell me in an elevator, I mean, what is it?
We're aiming to build the ultimate hub for creators and collectors alike to support Web3, right? So the way that we see it is there are so many different little microcosms across all of Web3 that are starting to pop up. There's like metaverse real estate salespeople. There's like people making clothing for avatars. There's like avatar creators themselves. There's people who want to just buy and sell like in-game crypto items. And all of these people need different ways to display and share the NFTs and digital items that they own. And as our lives become increasingly digital, we aim to basically provide a much more customizable experience there. So how you show off, parcels is going to be different from how you show off rare art versus, you having a store for all of your avatars and items and things. So we aim to be the true Web3 hub for NFTs. And that will take form in a couple different ways. First is this profile gallery I speak about, which is where there's a lot of customization there and resizing. Second of which is analytics. We see a lot of amazing analytics websites and platforms being built right now, but they're not really baked into what is the third piece, which is an exchange, a marketplace. So ultimately, this is what we're aiming to build here, and it's we've got quite a road ahead of us, but we're really, really excited about it. And all of us we really want to build something close to the ground here, close to the retail and close to the individual people who make Web3 interesting. Cool.
It's interesting you say retail, because one of the things I think when we sort of talk about NFTs, right, is that I know if I want to go and buy an NFT and I'm sort of crypto minded, I kind of know where I need to go. I know what marketplaces are out there for NFTs. But actually, now that we see NFT is becoming more mainstream, right? It's more for the retail, because you kind of got your Lindsay Lohans, your Paris Hiltons, your Floyd Mayweathers. You got those who everyday people know who might not be involved in crypto, right? And this is where I think, somebody might say, right, well, where do I actually go to get and buy an NFT? Like, as in, where is it? And there are niches, right? If you're in crypto, you know the niches, you know where to go. But if you're not really in crypto, but you want to get involved. And, the other thing that gets me is you've got the domain NFT.com, right? And I'm curious about this, actually. When did you get the domain NFT.com?
Yeah. That's kind of the big question, right? So our co-founder, Jordan Freed, he's kind of obsessed with domains, has been since he was little. Immutable Holdings, the parent company of NFT.com, actually also owns 1-800-BITCOIN, CBDC.com, and a few others too. So we're really big on trying to go after kind of the side of like, we see it in multiple tracks, I guess is the best way to put it, right? There are crypto-centric people who know exactly where to go. Yeah. And then there's people who are kind of in tokens, but they don't know exactly the right route for NFTs. And then there's people who are like, what is this internet money stuff? And the nice part about having domains like this is you can target a lot of those people that have never been part of crypto ever and provide both education, awareness, discoverability, and overall, like, provide a lot of value to everyone here, not just ourselves. We got this domain in January of 2021, crazy enough. Wow. And this was just before things started popping off. The person who sold it to Jordan came back a few months later and was like, I will pay you 3 times. I bet. Get it back. And we're like, no. It's not happening. We're building something. This is way too cool. Sorry. So now we're here, and long way to answer the question, but we're really excited.
It almost feels like that scene, and I forget the chap's name who was doing marketing for Apple, who had like their 10% stake originally when they came about, and they were like, yeah, okay, I'm done. I don't want to be with Apple anymore. Then every time you see it, it's like, if so and so held his shares, he'd be worth billions, and I feel sorry for the individual who sold NFT.com, but obviously clearly you guys had some foresight here, because 2021 was, it kicked off at that point. So that's pretty amazing, actually.
It's kind of miracle level timing. But now there's a lot of work ahead of us, and we definitely can't do it alone. We have some amazing advisors on our team, some amazing people helping to build the platform right now, and we're just really excited to do something like with community this time, and not something that's a bit more corporate, so to speak.
So I mean, let's talk a bit more about the platform, because from what you've told me, the idea is that you have NFT.com / and I don't know, let's say bunnies, for example, right? Because my niece has a bunny, so I'm going to say bunny. Now, from that perspective, me as the owner of the bunnies, I suppose, subdomain on NFT.com, what can I do? I get that it's my space, but what can I do with it exactly?
Yeah. Well, right now we look at a lot of the platforms that exist for NFTs and even some of like what happened with like BitClout with some of the social experiences in crypto. And we really want profiles to be something that you can own. There is a bit of kind of a social infrastructure here that we're starting to explore. Because and ultimately, like right now, if you have a profile on say like Twitter or Instagram, you don't really own that. Even YouTube, unfortunately, is a platform where at the snap of fingers, there are people that you can't see that can take your profile away. And that's kind of the first pillar of why we wanted to make profiles an NFT itself that you can own and trade. So if you have, NFT.com /decentralized chain or /bunnies, you can then build value into that by, creating a sick collection and customizing the page and building hype around that name. And then if someone wants that name from you, you can then turn around and sell that to them. It also gives you much more control, and kind of the ability to I guess monetize on that value a little bit. On top of that, we'll be rolling these things out to the community kind of in a slow roll. The first 20,000 profiles are going to be minted by Genesis key holders, which is the NFT that we're dropping soon. But then after that, it's going to be kind of a slowly opening gate to the rest of the community.
Now, I mean, for example, let's just if we kind of go back a bit to my page, I think one of the key things that you mentioned there is that we have control, we have sovereignty over it actually, because you're right. Mm-hmm. When I look at things like YouTube, for example, if I was to say something inappropriate in this video or something that somebody didn't like, it can get flagged, and the algorithms can pick it up, and actually my channel can get taken down. There's nothing that I can do about it, and all my videos, I do have an offline copy, but then I'd have to recreate that journey all over again if I was not able to get my channel back. So here, what I'm taking away is that you have something that is your own, that you can then continue to grow, cultivate a community around without fear of, an overall controller shutting us down more than anything else.
Yeah, exactly. And there are definitely limitations to this. You know what I mean? Like we're not going to build a platform that enables like hate speech and there has to be some level of way to kind of, somewhat control and govern this. It's kind of funny. The one of the things that we used to pride Hedera Hashgraph on was that we were building a kind of almost a DAO structure with their governing council, and we were kind of thinking of a very similar thing in how a community can help to protect and cultivate and overall make sure that NFT.com remains kind of a safe place and is kind of self-moderated to that end.
So I suppose to a certain extent, what we're talking here is governance built into NFT.com, governance from the actual community to a certain extent, right?
Yeah.
And does that sort of happen through like voting? So, I mean, for example, because I'm just trying to think out loud here, you say you've got, 30,000 odd subdomains, right, on NFT.com. Then I suppose each one of those domains has a voice, I suppose.
Yeah, ultimately, we really want to build something here that the community has a say in, right? Like we kind of see ourselves right now as almost like kind of servants of Web3 a little bit, where. And we also mentioned that, although that we're building on Ethereum now, we aim to really be chain agnostic. Wherever, NFTs and Web3 ecosystems prop up and exist, we want to be able to support those and enable them to do whatever it is they want to do. So we definitely, we're listening to the community significantly right now. And we're going to build a pretty intense feedback loop to make sure we're kind of, staying in sync with what our community needs.
When we sort of talk about these pages that each of the owners have, I'm just curious. Like for example, let's just say somebody was creating an art collection on bunnies, for example, and they happen to come across my subdomain, which is bunnies, and it makes sense because it's bunnies. Let's put it on bunnies, right? Because that's the community around that is completely focused around bunnies. So can they just come along and just start, I suppose, injecting the NFTs collection on there and start selling through that? How does that kind of mechanism work? I'm just curious.
That's a brilliant question. It's kind of like a bit of a curse of Ethereum right now, right? Where anyone can airdrop anything to your wallet, and now you're stuck with it, and you have to pay money to get rid of it, which kind of sucks. So that's one of the first things we really aim to tackle with profile galleries is the ability to kind of, well, one, hide things, but also things not auto-populate on your page just because someone sent you something. NFT spam is a big problem, and it can also be a little bit dangerous too, because sometimes scammers will use these and try to get people to go and like they'll see it and go, oh, hey, someone airdropped me something. I'm going to go connect my wallet here to try to sell it, and bam, all their things are gone. So between that and people sending just spam, that's something that we're aiming to kind of take care of. Ultimately, I guess when I'm speaking about these profile galleries, it really comes down to the ability to kind of resize, organize, and showcase the digital items that you own in a way that best suits them and what you're trying to accomplish. Right? Because like someone who is a collector trying to show off a gallery, certain things is going to have different needs than the person who just spent, the last week grinding in a Web3 game and is trying to sell his new array of like little RPG swords.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, one of the other things is from from an ownership perspective, and one thing, let's be honest, one thing in crypto people like is money. I know that there is a fair bit of wealth being generated in crypto, right? A lot of us got into crypto because of the quick gains that everyone sees and the 100x and 10x's. But money aside, because and people generally make a living out of being within this crypto space. And for example, if I have a popular one such as bunnies, and I want to look at how I can generate income from that, so then are there mechanisms in place whereby somebody who does want to come along and showcase their latest bunny art, bunny pixels, for example, for whatever game that they may have developed? How does that sort of interaction work between them and me then? Like, as in, do they come along and say, hey, Feroz, I know you own bunnies. I've got a collection of 100 pixel bunnies that I want to showcase and ultimately sell via your channel because you have the best bunny community around. How does that mechanism work?
So this is a really interesting question, and you're not the first person to ask this. I've actually had this question asked 3 times in the last couple of days, so I think there's definitely some merit to it. Something we were kind of discussing internally, and we were like, "Man, I don't think anyone's going to ask us this," but sure enough, I can't totally speak to the exacts of this mechanism now, based on kind of where we are. I'm going to be able to share a lot more kind of once we get through the Genesis key launch. But it's absolutely kind of a critical point right now. And as you're saying right here, and as I'm hearing, this is one of those things that it seems like the Web3 community needs. So it's something that we're taking very seriously. I couldn't imagine kind of a situation where people with like mechanisms can be created for people to sell things on certain pages, and those pages be able to take certain amounts of royalty off of that based on the criticality of the page. However, again, I'm really just speculating at this point. I can't confirm it.
Another one for you then, Alec. I can see so much, because in terms of all these subdomains, you're touching every facet of life, whether it's crypto, non-crypto. It's you're cultivating the community here. In fact, if I was to like it to something, it'd be similar to, say, Reddit, right? You got Reddit and then you got subreddits. Here, this feels like this is the kind of Reddit of crypto, but obviously you're cultivating communities and wealth around those spaces, whereas subreddit's just kind of full of lots of random stuff and spam and some good stuff in between. But to that point, you must have people knocking on your door. And by people, I mean sort of large organizations, your Nikes, we call it Adidas in the UK, but as you're from the US, I'll say Adidas for you. But you got your Nikes and your Adidas, and you got those. So do you have those types of partnerships underway, or is there something like that?
It's pretty interesting. It's another kind of tricky topic. The rules of copyright infringement are pretty clear. So to the end that they want to work with us, and we reach out to them to work with them. Yeah, we can absolutely help to facilitate the ownership of those pages. But ultimately, when I think when the auction closes, it's the 28th at 7 p.m. and people 24 hours after that, people will start minting profiles. It's fair game, and so long as you aren't doing intense copyright infringement, you can mint really anything you want here. There's obviously some restrictions to that, terms and agreements and such.
Yeah.
We definitely encourage people to be reasonable with what they mint here. But everything's kind of on the table. And when it does come to what brands want to do, it is kind of unfortunate that brands have to kind of host their NFTs and their own websites and away from all the fun and games and stuff on some of the major marketplaces. So to the extent that we can bring them into the fold and let them kind of join the party with the rest of the community and have a more branded experience where then they can showcase not only their NFTs, but advertise in the ways that they want. We're completely open to it. And we're kind of excited to explore that with some partners.
So for the viewers, when you start minting those tokens, when you start minting those NFTs, start taking all the best names you can think of, because they might be knocking on your door. You could be rich. Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of wild. I'm super fascinated to see what people mint. I guess
curious.
It's a good opportunity, right, to kind of talk about. Yeah, I hope this is okay, but I feel like this is kind of a good opportunity to maybe share what is about to happen.
No. Well, I was about. Yeah, no. I mean, let's certainly move on and talk actually about the Genesis keys. What they are, how you do it, when's them in, because I'm sure people are eager. So, Alec, over to you.
Awesome. So the Genesis keys are a 10,000 collection of animated, very fully unique artistic keys. I've been kind of defining them as like an art utility hybrid. These will mark the founding community members of NFT.com and enable you to mint 2 NFT.com profiles. So when you get this key, you'll be presented with a screen where you're able to basically type in whatever you'd like and mint that as an NFT itself. And then when you have that NFT, so long as it's in your wallet, you have the ability to customize and adjust and change that particular page on NFT.com. So NFT.com/Alec, if that's in my wallet, I can log in and move around and display my various NFTs in the way I want. These keys will go on sale in 2 parts. The first of which is going to be a blind auction that takes place on April 26th at 7 p.m. And the top 3,000 bids will win a Genesis key. But every single winner will pay the exact same price. For fairness and to kind of whale-proof this, so people aren't paying crazy amounts and things. The price that people pay is going to be the 3,001st bid, which is an attempt at making this pretty fair. Then about a week later, on May 2nd at 7 p.m., the public sale will begin, where the remaining keys will be sold to the public at a fixed price, and that will be the median of the top 3,000 bids, so around 1,500. So if you're hoping to get a Genesis key, definitely be sure to sign up for the blind auction. You can do that by whitelisting on our website right now. It's pretty simple, NFT.com. Some of my favorite things about the domain, it's hard to get fished if we just tell people to type in NFT.com.
Yeah, no, exactly. You'd have to seriously mess up somewhere along those lines to be on a site that's not NFT.com. But I think that's what I love about the simplicity of it, purely because, and as you mentioned before, that everyone who's sort of a crypto enthusiast knows where to go in order to purchase NFTs from a marketplace. But everyone who's not within that crypto space or that kind of niche knows that, okay, well, if I want to find an NFT, it's NFT.com. I'm just going to go and have a look at NFTs there. And that's where I need to go. I think that's the simplicity in it as well, actually.
My goal is a little personal goal is actually, so I haven't told my family much about what this is at all or given them any context to what I'm building. And hopefully in a few months, I'm just going to send them the link and be like, go ahead, go buy an NFT and see if we've done a good enough job of educating that people can kind of find their way from zero knowledge about crypto to, I just bought my first NFT. This is my profile. I've customized it. Yeah. It's gonna be fun.
I think one of the things I always say on my channel, and I'm a strong believer of, is that I don't think getting into crypto is easy for the everyday retail user. There is the barrier to entry is quite technical. Even if you look at things like DeFi, for example, and you want to sit there and stake, and you want to sit there and auto compound, it's not straightforward. There's no one-click process for a lot of this stuff.
No.
And I think the easier we make it for the everyday user to be able to interact with this space, and the space is moving at 1,000 miles per hour every day, the easier it will be to gain some of that usage, to gain some of that adoption, and so people don't feel left out. That is not just for those who understand this ecosystem, but it's for people that also want to get involved on that. Well, look, Alec, I really appreciate you coming on the show today and talking about NFT.com.
Thank you.
And before we wrap up, for our viewers, where do they need to go in order to understand a little bit more, get some of those Genesis keys minted? Your show, 30 seconds, off you go.
Sweet. Well, I'll keep it pretty straightforward and pretty simple. It's NFT.com. It's pretty easy. So just head over there. You can join the whitelist today. It's real simple. All we ask is your Ethereum address and your email, and you'll be registered for the whitelisted blind auction. It's just that simple. No grinding in Discord for whitelist or anything like that.
Perfect. Well, look, Alec, thanks so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. And details are all in the description below for anybody that wants to find out exactly where to go, although you can't really go wrong. And Alec, let's catch up in the future and see how all this progresses once the actual initial mint is done.